Welcome to Tech Talk, y'all.
Hello, and welcome to Tech Talk, y'all, episode 372. I'm Sanjay Park, and I'm joined with another special guest, Cara Kneer.
Hi, Sanjay.
Welcome to the show. Cara is a very long-time friend of the show, so I'm excited to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to Adam for taking a day off so I could try to fill his shoes and seat. And it's so good to see you, my friend. It's been a minute.
Well, it's really filling his hat more than anything. It's not his shoes and his seat.
Good
it's
point.
Really his hat.
Good point.
But yeah, Adam is playing hooky again this week, but he'll be back next week for our avid listeners that might be missing him. You're probably not missing him. It's probably fine. So,
and let's be honest, you're the show, Sanjay. I can say that. I'm just kidding, Adam.
I don't think that's true at all. But I appreciate you saying that. But on that note, let's get into the stories. First up, Microsoft hangs up on Skype, the service to shut down May 5th, 2025. Cara, how long has it been since you've used Skype at this point?
It's been a minute. I do remember distinctly, though, when Oprah started using Skype. Do you remember this? I mean, probably 20. No. So they said Skype has been around for 23 years. I bet this was close to that. And she debuted it on her show, and we were all aghast that she could talk to somebody on this screen. It was wild time. So, I mean, I can't believe it's still around, honestly.
Right. Like, I honestly haven't thought about Skype in, I don't know, years at this point. And so when Oprah did that, that must have been obviously before Microsoft bought it, because Microsoft bought it at some point, and then it's just kind of been lingering, I guess, at this point.
I think, I read, because Microsoft bought it 14 years ago, and this was definitely in the early, it was early 2000s. So probably close to when it started.
I don't even remember when Oprah went off the air at this point. I feel like it was a long time ago, but then she was on TV for so long that it feels like
I only know because I was working in television, and we did a huge, for the same network she was on. So we did a huge farewell to her. I believe it was like 2010, I want to say. So 15 years.
Wow.
Close to that.
Man, time flies. She's still the powerhouse that she was back then.
Honestly,
I think. So.
She looks great.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. What about you? You said you don't really remember last time you used Skype.
No, it's been quite some time. Now it's everything else, right? It's Zoom, it's Google Meet, it's all of the other things. So there's so many options, which, pick the one that works for you.
Right. Pick the one that
Not
works
Skype
for you.
anymore.
I like that. No more Skype. Bye-bye Skype. All right. Sad to see you go. Okay. Should we get on to the next one?
Let's go.
All right. Mozilla, is that how you say that?
Mozilla. Yeah, Mozilla.
I've never really said it out loud. Okay. Mozilla responds to backlash over new terms, saying it's not using people's data for AI. This was interesting, Sanjay. I couldn't tell if they just got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, like everybody read our terms.
Yeah. So obviously people nowadays keep track of those things. So they had to change. And they got rid of this thing that said, we're never going to use your data for other things. And they deleted that. And it's like, well, that's sneaky. Right. And they had a good reasoning. Like, look, sale means different things in different jurisdictions and all that. But a lot of people were upset about this because they have been moving into some AI stuff. And so, Mozilla obviously makes Firefox. I'm a huge fan of Firefox. Although I'm going to give you a tech rec at the end of the show that's going to help with all of this if you're concerned. But yeah, so they've kind of walked back some of this stuff so that people can be hopefully a little calm. But I think, people are a little riled up because when somebody does something like this, it's like, wait a minute, what else are you trying to sneakily do on us? Are you a Firefox user? Are you a Chrome user? What do you use? What's your browser?
I use Chrome because I think most of the things I need to be enabled by Chrome. It's like, please use Chrome. But should I be using Firefox?
Well, I'll give you an option at the end of the show, which is different than Firefox. But yeah, my daily driver up until now has always been Firefox, but I'm old school. Like when the web started, Netscape Navigator was one of the first browsers that came off of Mosaic. Netscape Navigator is the lineage that Firefox and Mozilla come from. And so it's still the same browser. So I've always used Netscape Navigator or Firefox since the beginning of the web, essentially. So I'm pretty solid on that. Now, that said, I do use Chrome sometimes. Like right now we're recording the podcast and you have to use Chrome for this platform. So I've got Chrome installed, but I really feel like Firefox gives you a lot of features and privacy enhancements that you just cannot get in Chrome. And actually, I didn't tag a story about this, but since you bring it up, I noticed in Chrome now, it has disabled some extensions that I use that kind of manage cookies and do some of this other stuff that I do for privacy. You can't use them now anymore in Chrome. Of course, you can still continue to use them in Firefox. So for listeners, they should really consider, which browser they're using, because those choices really dictate how much information other people have about you.
So is Chrome then, why aren't they getting the same heat that Mozilla did if they're taking away some privacy options? Like, honestly.
I mean, I think they are, but, I think everybody realizes, like, look, it's Google. And even though they have this don't be evil thing, like, I mean, they do things for their business.
Right.
And so it is what it is. So you kind of know the beast that you're getting. I think the people that use Firefox are so focused on this that the minute that something like this looks like they're pulling the wool over your eyes, people freak out about it. So
yeah,
there you go.
I'm sorry.
But speaking of,
I was just thinking Netscape Navigator. That really took me back there, Sanjay, remember that's how we used to get music.
Yeah. You remember the little pulsing N that would happen?
Yes.
Like when it was loading the pages? Yeah. There's no good, loading page animations anymore now. Not like that old school pulsing N. No. They should bring that back.
I remember when.
Yeah. But somebody else is bringing something back or making something better. Actually, and speaking of Google, the New York City subway is using Google Pixels to listen for track defects. This was kind of a neat story.
This was a neat story. And you know what? There's so much chatter today, especially in my world, about, people being replaced by AI and people being replaced by machines. And I thought this is what it's good for, because it's less dangerous for those workers that, they said they do it 3 times a year. It's like 80 New York City workers that go out and try to actually find the defects. And now a machine can do it for them. It seems a lot safer and a lot less time consuming.
Yeah. And you could potentially do this ongoing, so you could catch these defects well before they become worse. Cause like everything else, I imagine the earlier you catch it, the easier it is to fix, the cheaper it is to fix. So why not because these phones are not going to go out and actually fix the problems. They're just going to detect it. You're still going to need humans out there fixing the problems. But for the listeners, basically what they did was they took a bunch of Pixel phones, Google Pixel phones, strapped them to train cars in the New York subway and had them record the audio to understand and then use AI to analyze what was normal and not normal sounds of the tracks. And when it was not normal, they detected this. And I think, what did it say? It detected like 92% of the defects that the humans would have detected anyways.
Yeah. It was really neat. It's really a good use of efficiency and safety. And I liked the guy, I'm paraphrasing his quote, but one of the men who had looked for defects prior was like, yeah, I'll just write down bumpy side. I'm like, bumpy side? There's got to be a better way to do that for all the safety of the passengers, the millions of people. There's like 3 million people a day that are transported those things.
Well, yeah. Bumpy side.
Bumpy side. Yeah. So this sounds like a good fix. Hopefully it works.
Exactly.
All right, Sanjay, speaking of, well, I don't know if this is a fix because the car industry seems to be in some sort of upheaval, but it says global sales of combustion engine cars have peaked. Do we think that's trending that way?
Yeah. Look, you look at the chart, it's super fascinating. So 2 years ago, if you look at all the cars sold, it was the peak of internal combustion engine cars, and it's been going down, and the difference is being made up with electric vehicles. Now, personally, I don't know about you. I've got one fully electric vehicle. I've got another one that's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. I got to tell you, I love them.
Yeah.
The fully electric, like if you want just crazy performance, like get an electric vehicle. Yeah. You push on the accelerator and that thing takes off, right? Like there is no comparison to an internal combustion engine car.
That's
really.
a very dude thing to say, Sanjay.
I'm trying to appeal to the dudes.
I have a hybrid and I love it. I've been to the gas station 3 times in the last year. I mean, it's amazing. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Out of my plug-in hybrid, I only get, I think, like 20 miles. So I do still have to go to the gas station, but it's a lot less frequent. And I'll tell you, in my big SUV plug-in hybrid, I think I get like 42 miles to the gallon or something like that, which is crazy for an SUV, right?
So good. I have no idea what mine is.
I don't actually calculate it. The car keeps track of it. So I just look at that number and I'm like, oh, that's really good.
That's really cool.
I'm not spending a ton on gas. So that's a great thing.
Yeah. Love it.
Something else, talking about stuff from a long, long time ago. Remember Digg? That's Digg. It's getting a reboot thanks to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian. Also one of the co-founders of Digg. And I have totally forgot his name. He is involved as well. There were 2 co-founders of Digg way back in the day. Kevin Rose. Of course, Kevin Rose. He's involved as well. Do you remember Digg?
I don't.
Was Digg before your time?
I think it is before my time. I don't remember Digg. I do know Alexis Ohanian though, because he's married to Serena Williams.
I knew you were going to say that. You know him because of the person he's married to, not the things he's actually done.
Right. Totally.
He's like internet royalty, but you know him for being the guy Candy.
Yes, I know him supporting Serena. He sits in the stands with their lovely children. That's Alexis to me. So
you know what's funny?
New little thing you're entertaining, Alexis.
You know what's funny is I've seen those things before, and you like when they're at tennis matches, and they're like, oh yeah, that's Serena Williams' husband, and that's like. He's a co-founder of Reddit. He's done a bunch of stuff, made a ton of money. It's not like he married her for the money.
Don't care.
She might have married him for the money, actually. Because I think they're both pretty well off, when it comes to it, but, they seem to be a good pair. But so Digg, which used to be called like the front page of the internet, it's getting a reboot. It used to be a great site. It used to be a great news aggregator. I just don't know if there's a place for that anymore.
Right. Yeah. I wonder why. I mean, he's a smart guy. They're both smart people. Why are they doing this?
Maybe it was cheap buying it.
Yeah.
Right? Like getting it bought back out at this point. They've just cratered the whole thing. So it was $5 here, take it all back.
Right. They're bored. So let's revamp Digg with 2 G's. Okay.
With 2 G's.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You know, what's funny is not too long ago, I actually interviewed somebody for another podcast, our Side Hustle, the small business podcast, that we do with Edgewise for Hiscox Insurance. And somebody had a agency called Digg with 2 G's. And I was like, do you know the original Digg? They were like, oh no, I didn't know that was a thing. And I was like, I
call the patent
I feel
office.
old.
Or like,
patent trademark office.
Make sure that's okay that you use that. That is interesting.
Yeah. But I did feel old all of a sudden that, I know the original internet stuff that some people don't know anymore.
I know. Well,
I don't know how that happened.
We have to teach the young ones, Sanjay. That's our job now. And hopefully we will continue to do that and not. This next article is frightening to me. So I need you to lay this out. Melbourne startup launches biological computer made of human brain cells. I want to leave.
This is kind of terrifying to me too, right? Like, I feel like this is Skynet, all happening right in front of us. So they basically, I don't understand the biology of this at all. I'm not a biology person, but they grew like organoids or something, like some kind of neurons, and they got it to do things. But then like there's discussion, like the ethics of this, and like, what if you have enough of these? Does it get consciousness? And is it alive? Like,
I don't.
This is weird craziness.
It really is. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about it. Melbourne is just go to the opera. I don't know. I don't stop messing with the computers and the brain cells.
You know, those Australians, they do crazy stuff down there. And so, I don't know what is going on down there,
They have
but
kangaroos to worry about. So let's focus on the immediate danger.
Yes, exactly. They're outnumbered 2-1 by kangaroos. Yeah. For every human, there's 2 kangaroos down there in Australia.
Well, I didn't realize that kangaroos were so dangerous.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I've been driving and one jumped in front of me and scared the living daylights out of me. And I almost crashed into that guy.
Yeah. Do not engage.
No, they you don't, they look cute and cuddly, but they will rip you apart.
Yeah,
and they have worse things down there, by the way, in Australia. They have this thing called the cassowary. Now we're going to diverge off here a little bit.
Tell me, I'm not going to
cassowaries.
Okay. What's that?
So cassowaries are these flightless birds that are descendants from like prehistoric, like dinosaurs and stuff. And here's the thing. If you have an umbrella, you can just open the umbrella and spin it at it and stuff and it'll scare them away. But if you come across one and you scare it, they've got talons that are so sharp that they can slice you open from end to end and your like insides come out. So it's like, be careful. Yeah. People have died from scaring cassowaries.
Oh my! I mean, I'm glad I didn't know about this, but now I will be able to sleep tonight.
And what's interesting too, here's another interesting fact about cassowaries. When the babies are hatched, the mothers run away and the fathers actually stay and tend to the young and raise them. So the mothers are just like, I'm out. I did my thing. I'm out. And you, dad, you're stuck with the kids.
Good for them. I thought you were going to say they formed some sort of gang with the kangaroos and they're just a pack of trouble with the wallabies around Australia. I don't know.
The wallabies, the kangaroos, and the cassowaries. That's a bad gang. You just,
I don't want
one's going to punch you and the other one's going to slice you open.
Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. All right, well, we won't do a tech talk y'all live from Australia anytime soon.
that we might want to avoid. But talking about somebody that's trying to save humanity versus trying to kill humanity.
Yes.
Blood donor James Harrison, who saved 2 million babies, has died. This was a fascinating story to me. This guy has been donating every 2 weeks his plasma, which is distilled down into a medicine that helps mothers that have babies with like a different RH factor so that the babies don't die. And it's just incredible.
I couldn't get over this story and that there hasn't been a bigger deal made about this gentleman.
Right?
It should be James Harrison Day, a James Harrison parade. And you oftentimes want to find things to do to better humanity. And this man's like, I can just donate my plasma and save lives. That's incredible.
And for 60 years.
Wow.
And he only quit because he was required to stop doing it because of age. Otherwise, he was like, I would keep going.
Yeah. That's so cool. Good for
just
him.
Incredibly selfless and just amazing and just really incredible. The last time he donated, they had a bunch of people, a bunch of parents, moms with babies that were saved by the medicine that he helped kind of, create the stuff for. But the other silver lining in this is that, they realize like, look, you can't rely on just these people. I think they have like 200 of them in the UK. I think this is in the UK, that they're trying to create a synthetic version of this so that you're not reliant on the goodwill of people like James Harrison. Cause honestly, I don't think there's that many people like that that would go and do this every 2 weeks.
Yeah. What a guy. And thoughts to his family now. I'm sure they're so proud of him too. That's very cool lineage.
I gotta tell you, I get freaked out by needles. So I've always thought about that. But he even said he was scared of needles, but he'd still go and do it. So I don't know. I read that part and I was like, well, I mean, maybe I should go do it.
Right. So. I know. You never know. I've never donated plasma before. So maybe now's the time. We're inspired by James Harrison. Okay. Speaking of other things that are saving lives, a surprising new tool in the fight against cancer. We've often heard this alleviates heart attacks or the possibility of one, but aspirin is now being used as a tool because it kind of mitigates when the cells start acting up together, I guess I should say, for lack of better terms. I'm also not a scientist, but
hey, you misbehaving cells.
Yes.
Don't act up.
We just did a story the other day about how now one of the contributing factors that they can actually say because of studies for cancer is stress. So,
yep.
Which sounds like, of course, but now it's proven in some research.
Right.
So this is good news to kind of combat it the other way with some aspirin.
Yeah. But they do say in the study, like this is a very early study. You shouldn't just start popping aspirin because aspirin does do other things as well, right? It's a potential blood thinner and all these kinds of other things. So don't just start popping aspirin, but it does seem like it helps stop cancer from metastasizing, and spreading in the body. And so this could be a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a relatively inexpensive drug, right? It comes from, I think it's tree bark, that we get this from. And so it's been around for, like you say, like decades and decades. It's like 60 or something years old, right?
Encouraging news.
And it's just amazing. And along with the next story, scientists discover a new part of the immune system. This goes back to what I say often on this show. Like we think we're so smart and we just keep finding new things in places that we already think we already know all the things about. Right. Like there was a story a couple of years ago where scientists discovered a new organ behind the nose. And it's like, wait a minute. You people have been cutting up people for a long time. I feel like you should have found all this stuff at this point, but no, you're still finding new things. And this thing too, like there's a new like function of how the body fights disease and infections. And so this might actually lead to a whole new class of drugs that would be great for us, right? New antibiotics for us.
That's amazing. That's wild. I don't claim to be smart, but I do know a lot of smart people and I love to ask them questions. So I am good at that.
The Weird and Wacky segment.
Abominable snowman.
He's not an axe murderer.
One of the TAs turned out to be a bot.
Okay, here we go into Weird and Wacky. First up, you want to hit it, Cara?
Yeah, this is so cute. Okay, so literally magical and cute. Why an oddly shaped puppy mountain in China is drawing crowds. Picture a puppy in your head, make it into a mountain. That's what's going on in China right now. And people are flocking to see it.
So, to me, what this story really kind of highlights is that this story 40 years ago would not exist because there would have been no way for somebody to see that, think that it looks like a puppy and then share it with the world or even their country folks or whatever. Like at the most, maybe it goes into your local newspaper and then people in the local area might know about it. Like nobody else is going to know about it. But because of social media and because of the internet, that's why everybody knows about this, right? And now people are flocking to it. I find it super interesting because of that.
I love that more puppy-shaped mountains I would like to be permeated into the atmosphere so all of us know about it instead of all the other crazy things that we all are forced to know about these days. So I'm on the puppy mountain side.
Yeah. And talking about the crazy part of social media, the next story, what is the $19 strawberry from Erewhon? Do you know this story?
No, you know what? This headline made me mad, so I didn't even read it. It's true.
So, okay. Since you didn't read the story, let me tell you the story. So these strawberries are flown in from Japan. Also, I did not know that there's a specific area of Japan that's known as the strawberry region of Japan.
Okay.
But these strawberries have been cultivated and, yes, each one costs $19. But apparently it's almost the same price in Japan as it is in Erewhon. Erewhon is a super high-end grocery store in LA.
Hailey Bieber shake and smoothie that's like $29. Apparently
I've never been. I don't think I'll ever be going to that place. Maybe I'll do a drive and see it out the window, but that's about it. But anyways, these strawberries apparently have no like tartness to them. They're perfectly sweet. When you cut them, they are perfectly shaped on the inside as a perfect heart. And so they come in this like perfectly encapsulated presentation thing. Now, if you know anything about Japan, they are big into things like this. Like I was there in the mid 90s working. And even back then they would have these pieces of fruit that, man, the boxes seemed like they were more involved than the piece of fruit inside, but the pieces of fruit were just like perfect, unblemished pieces of fruit that you would give as gifts, or when you go to somebody's house, you would give this as a gift or something. I thought it was crazy back then. I still think it's kind of nuts now, but it's a thing, and people are saying these strawberries are really good. It kind of makes me want to go to Japan and just try them there.
I'm sold. Okay, you've sold me, because the artistry, the like presentation, all of it, I think is pretty cool. So I would spend $19 on that if I had it.
They don't sell any that are not perfect, right? And they package them up in Japan, and within 24 hours, because like the ideal time for these to be consumed is within like a couple of days of when they're picked off the vine. And so that's why they fly them over to Erewhon. Can't even tell you what the carbon footprint is on these things, but it's probably not great for the environment, but you get one strawberry that's really, really good, apparently.
I was on the fence, but you have talked me into it a little bit.
Your husband's going to be like, why are we buying $19 strawberries?
Don't worry about it. Sanjay said it's beautiful and unblemished. Okay. This last one this is interesting. The de-extinction. I didn't even know that could be possible, but scientists say these gene-edited woolly mice are a step towards woolly mammoths, which made me think that that's what's going on in New York City, because I know they got a mice problem and a rat problem. Maybe that's where they've been cut loose.
I don't know about you. I feel like I don't really need woolly mammoths traversing the landscape. Like, I feel like that's another thing that's going to endanger humans at this point. Like, I don't know what these people are thinking. It's just because we can do it doesn't mean we should.
Thank you.
Right?
That's all that needs to be said there.
Tech wreck. Time to get your tech wreck.
Tech wreck. Chicky.
Tech wreck. Time to get your tech wreck.
Okay, Cara, it is tech wreck time. What do you have for us? We'll let you go first, and then I'll tell you my tech wreck.
Okay. I'm sure people have heard of this, but it's very cool. It's called VestaBoard. It is a large board that you can put anywhere in your home, and it will automatically you have to prompt it, but it will give you messages. It's very retro looking. It's very cool. I mean, my friends have it. I don't have it. It's pretty pricey, and it is very it just looks neat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like art, but it also serves a purpose for messaging and whatever you want to use it for. But look it up, VestaBoard, because I'm not giving it justice to how cool it is. And I'm trying to compete with producer Shannon's awesome coffee machine.
To me, what it reminds me of is those old school display boards that you have in train stations from like the 40s or whatever, and the little flippy, and they change and all the things. It's mesmerizing. I so want one. I am so not allowed to get one. And so maybe one day it'll be possible, but
Yes.
They have a black version, and now they have a white version too. The white version looks incredible.
It's really cool. And it makes that old timey sound with the flippy. It's very, ASMR. It's the whole thing. All right. What do you have, Sanjay?
I love it. So I teased this early on. If you don't want to use Firefox anymore, there is another browser that you can use called LibreWolf. So it's a play obviously on Firefox, LibreWolf. So it's Freedom Wolf. And basically it is Firefox with all the junk stripped out. Now, Firefox doesn't even have that much junk, but they take out all the stuff that reports back telemetry on you. They make sure that some add-ons that Mozilla puts in, they've ripped all of that out. And then they, by default, include uBlock Origin, which is a really good extension that blocks a lot of ads and trackers and things like that. But you can disable that as well if you want to. So I've been playing with it a little bit, and I think it might become my new daily driver browser, and I might actually move away from Firefox into LibreWolf.
We need to have a sound for that. That's like a crowd noise. That's very exciting. Yeah,
because I mean, just in testing it, it seems to perform a lot faster because I think they've ripped out a lot of the stuff, the junk. And so the footprint is smaller, the memory footprint is smaller, and then it just processes faster. So, and if nothing, we want to be on the web so that we can get to things fast. Yeah. So let's use a fast browser. So there you go.
Very cool. I love it. Thank you for having me, Sanjay.
Well, Cara, this has been awesome. Thanks for being on the show. Where can our listeners find you if they want to find you online somewhere?
I'm sure nobody wants to find me, but if they do, it's at Cara Kneer on all socials, just CARAKNEER.
And as usual, you can find me at sanjayparikh.com.
All right.
Thanks again, Cara. This has
Thanks,
been
Thunder.
great.
You're the best. I appreciate you having me, and it was great to catch up.